Welcome to Episode 1 of Swooning Over Stands, a Grunkle dating sim. A friend of mine requested that I stream this, but no one's going to see it if I stream at 10 o'clock at night. So I'm recording a little Let's Play while streaming. Let's just jump right in. This is the screen no title screen or anything, it's just this. So let's just get started. It's really loud. Oh god, that is horribly loud. Oh, shit. Back. Good old road trips, full of promise and ripe with potential for adventure, soul-searching and incredible scenery. Or at least, that's what you thought before the novelty wore thin. As of now, your legs are cramping up. You've exhausted your travel playlist 2 times over, and your stomach is begging for something to eat. On top of all that, you're pretty sure you're lost. Driving through Oregon paints a picture of trees, and more trees, especially on the endless winding roads that you're taking up north. All that breaks the pattern is a sign that zips past with words that you're able to make out. Gravity Falls. The road continues on, giant redwoods looming on both sides. You find yourself anticipating something because as you drive on, you can feel it. Something strange is bound to happen here. The road continues on. Oh, I read that already. Fuck. And that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere, and you quickly put your foot on the brakes, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to stay calm despite the panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake only to find that the car resists and keeps moving forward, like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle. The wheels screech against the country road, and you're screaming until... Crash! Country roads take me home. To the Grunkles that I want. There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumble for the door, and manage to undo the lock just before the door is wrenched outward from your grasp. Something lands on your shoulder. A hand. Are you alright? A man stands at your open car door. His hand on your shoulder leaves to tilt your head up, and he pulls a flashlight from his coat, shining it in your eyes. 2 blinks, and he lets go of your chin. Or lets your chin go. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for injuries. Still stunned, all you do is watch. What's your name? Oh no, what is my name? Think of a name. I guess I'm just going with Boo Boo. Is it? Oh, there we go. And my pronouns, I am a he, him. Boo Boo, I'm Stanford Pines. Ford for short. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up enough as it is. You seem fine. That was cute. He said shake it up as it is because he knew that we'd freak out if we saw the 6 fingers. That's cute. You seem fine as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth are you driving in such a hurry? You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Poindexter, this better not be one of your experiments again. I've had this place rebuilt too many times to... The owner of the voice walks out of the house and stops, slack-jawed at the side of your car in the side of... Wait, what? At the side of your car in the side of, you're guessing, his house. I really like the outfit for Stanley here. It's awesome. You must have hit your head earlier, because you could swear you're seeing double. Sweet Moses, Ford, you've done it this time. What? This had nothing to do with me. I was testing my magnet gun, and it must have pulled this victim of circumstance into the house. I suppose it is entirely my fault. I'm incredibly sorry. Cry. Always cry. Always go for the cry option. A tear streaks down your cheek before you know it, you're crying. Both men look intensely uncomfortable, but Ford reaches out to give you a hesitant pat. Yes! Crying worked! I got the head pats! Hey, look, it's fine, alright? Sure, there's a dent in the hood from the shack's signage and a crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle, but I'm sure she'll still run. You try to start up the car. It sputters, but ultimately, nothing happens. You feel like crying again. Oh. Well, let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul in here and forget. I'll take care of it. You're sure it is cheaper to tow it yourself, Sixer? Get that magnet gun out again. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. What? Aha, you fix this mess? I figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Nah, you kidding me? It'd take some sort of miracle worker to bring this baby back to life, and this miracle worker is on vacation. Stanley, a moment. Ford and Stanley turn away, and you're left to your thoughts. Who can anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of a road trip? You could take care of the car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you take a bus out of here, and then... Ford clears his throat, shifting a little awkwardly in place. Seems like they finished their talk. So there are a few options. My brother Stanley could drive you out to town to find a place to stay for the night, or he could stay the night here. He has some maps and information you can look at in the gift shop, and in the morning we can help you with your car. What do you say? Just as you're about to answer, another high-pitched voice comes from inside the house. I'm not voicing Mabel. I can somewhat differentiate my voice for the stands, but there's no way I'm doing this. Grunkle Stan, picture this. A whole week of, oh my gosh. The girl that runs out of the house comes to a halt at the side of your car. Oh, great. Grunkle Ford? Why is it that everyone automatically thinks I'm at fault? Well, this time it is my fault, but I've invited Boo Boo here to stay with us for the night. If he'd like, I'm sure I can fix this. I just have to figure out how. Stanley sighs. I can take a look. Being on vacation's pretty boring, and the old Stanmobile hasn't needed a tune-up yet, so it wouldn't be too bad to work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure I can put something together from the gadgets I have laying around if you need any specialized tools to help with the job. And let me introduce myself. I'm Mabel. You can ask me anything. I pretty much know everything there is to know about this place. Wait, hold on. I haven't even said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay. And to repair your car. Yeah, it'll be good as new in my hands. I mean, look at my Stanmobile. She's been through the ringer. Who knows how many times, and she's still a beaut. He points out a red car parked a distance away. You can't really see how beautiful it is at this distance, but he sounds really confident. Well, this turn of events is, I don't know what fortuitous means, so I'm going to say that. Free repairs, free lodging, there's no better deal to be found. And if things don't work out, the town probably has some sort of auto repair shop you can head to instead. Well, I accept. Thanks for the help. And my apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made an elementary mistake. As the pines lead you into the house, Mabel leaves her number in your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that Ford's twin actually goes by Stan. I'm gonna save real quick. Oh, I guess that's already saved then. How do I go back? Okay. This part's the house, but just outside the door, the mystery shack. Hey, you ever been to the mystery shack before? I wanted to. Actually, I saw a bumper sticker while I was on the road and got curious. You're interrupted by a loud, triumphant ha. Those bumper stickers were a good investment, and Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic and don't even have an address on them, Stanley. How is anyone supposed to find this place to attract customers? Sixer, did you hear that? Well, they are graphically simplistic. I don't know how he found the place, let alone thought what is the mystery shack was compelling. I kind of liked it. See? He kind of liked it. Hey, I like you, Boo Boo. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow? Regular price. Regular price? For me? Tomorrow? Then I'll have to squeeze all my get-to-know-you questions in today. Boo Boo, tell me, copy, borrow, yes or no? What the fuck does that mean? At that moment, a boy passes in the hallway at the far doorway, and Ford calls out to him. Dipper, my boy, I'm surprised I didn't see you run out to the scene of the crime. Crime? What crime? I have an alibi. Oh, you have someone with you. Crime? Oh, what? I just saw the text move. Did you guys see that car in the side of the shack, though? For a second, I thought the Manitars were back with a grudge. Yes, about that, Dipper. Meet Boo Boo. I've, stranded his car here by accident. He's staying here for the time being. Sorry, stranded his car here? You crashed it? Yeah, the S and shack fell on it and everything, and the windows are cracked. One window, the windshield, and Boo Boo was lucky to make it out alive. Yay me. He's fine, no injuries, thankfully. Magnicon's rather safe despite never having been tested in a formal setting. Yeesh, did you not, take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation is that I was trying to install a safety precaution. Hey, if you two are gonna do your nerd talk, I'm gonna get Boo Boo set up. Yes, Stan, please. Let me sleep in your bed. Oh, I didn't pay attention to what he said. Mabel, sweetie, why don't you show Boo Boo around? Let him stay in, the storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. Oh, boy. The rest of the day consists of Mabel showing you the storage room you'll be staying in, then the kitchen, and the living room, and the hallway, and the bathroom, and pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of a regular house. Eventually, you find out that the family is even more excited than you know. The decorative doilies make a lot more sense knowing a grandmother normally lives here, and her grandson Zeus. Or was it Zeus? Whatever the name, you look forward to meeting him when he comes for work in the morning. When you go up to the attic, Mabel opens the door to reveal Dipper, nose stuck in his book, but you catch him occasionally glancing up as he pretends to read. The next member of the family snorts up at you from Mabel's bed, a rotund pink pig who Mabel declares is her best friend and partner in crime, Waddles. The two are a perfect match, right down to the chubby cheeks and boopable noses. Relatable. In the evening, though you'd still be in disbelief over the state of your car, the family dinner and after-dinner TV marathon you'd been invited to made it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstance. Returning to the storage room Mabel had shown you earlier, you find an air mattress waiting for you, and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. You wake up to the weak glare of sunlight streaming in through the small, high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel room for that matter, and then yesterday comes crashing back to you. You glance at the time to see that you've slept into the afternoon. Experiencing the accident yesterday must have left you tired out. Despite having been assured yesterday evening that you were free to do anything in the fridge, you still feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try preparing as polite a guest breakfast as you can. You wash your dishes in the sink before you leave, and just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford. Yes, from yesterday, of course. For a good solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. My kind of man. Ford clears his throat. I believe Stanley's taking a look at your car outside if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make to leave for real this time when Ford speaks up again. And Boo Boo, I'm sorry again for the accident. If I'd been smarter about, well, let's just say it's entirely my fault. You shouldn't worry about this at all. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. Weeks? You can't keep the dismay off your face, and you can't really bring yourself to try to either. What am I going to do with weeks? Find a husband. Ford, Ford, who had gone kind of uncomfortable and closed off when your face fell, recovers at the prospect of a question he can answer. Well, there's a town to tour, of course, and the Mystery Shack. But if you ask me, all that pales in comparison to... Hold on, do you hear that? Ford turns to the kitchen doorway to investigate. Sounds like... The sound comes again. This time you hear it as well. The squeal of a pig, followed by a pair of quick footsteps running down the stairs. Waddles tumbles past the open kitchen doorway, and Mabel comes into view soon after, a few sheets of paper clutched in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen, and he follows the doorway, getting there just in time to see the apparent tug-of-war between Mabel and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. The paper rips, and after nearly toppling backward from her efforts, Mabel recovers, snatching the scrap of ripped paper from Waddles' jaw, and lifting both pieces up victoriously. Ha ha! Mabel wins again! Now I just gotta find Grunkle Ford! Ford, who'd run forward and held a hand out to steady his energetic child when she'd been in danger of toppling over, now finds a number of crumpled sheets of paper shoved into his hands. Mabel tugs urgently at his coat. Grunkle Ford, you have got to help me! Ford kneels down to face Mabel with a serious, though concerned look. Slow down, Mabel. What's the matter? Dipper found a stack of pages from your old journal and walked in, and Waddles ran up and started eating one, and he must have been chewing on it to warn me. Grunkle Ford, because look. Mabel takes the ripped halves of paper back from Ford's hand and joins them together, holding it up for Ford to see. Ah, I see. And you took it as a warning? Yes. It says here that it eats small dogs, and Waddles is a small pig, but he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles must have feared for his life. Waddles seems to second the notion with a snort. Or not, as it seems the pig is lounging adorably a short distance away in the hallway. When am I going to see Waddles? Show me Waddles, coward. You can't imagine that this dangerous predator could be. Some kind of wolf? Something bigger? You're suddenly not so keen on staying anymore. Remember that pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared that time. I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? You suppose pigs are allowed in museums around here? How about I finish that repellent I never got around to completing? That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Mabel flops down on the floor in relief. Grunkle Ford, you're an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear. Ford chuckles, lifting himself out of the kneel and standing back up. Alright, I'll go get my recipe. Look at this guy. Ford turns to leave, and you suddenly remember that with nothing better to do for the weeks you're going to be here, it wouldn't hurt to get to know Ford. He seems to know what there is to do around town anyway, and you'll need that to not die of boredom in the first week. Or more pressingly, you can go check on your car and see what Stan's made of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car on the side of the house again, though. Oh no. We're gonna save here. I don't know who I'm gonna who am I standing, guys? Oh no, I don't know. Let's go with Ford. Ford, wait, need a hand with that recipe? I can handle it myself. Are you sure you couldn't use a hand? Ford looks away, and you follow his averted line of sight to Mabel, who's just mouthed something that you couldn't catch. When she catches you looking her way, Mabel gives you a 100-watt smile, the picture of innocence. Ford rubs the back of his neck. Yes, I suppose I can accept some help. And with that assured that Ford is on the task, you spot Mabel rolling away with Waddles into the living room. Before we get started, I suppose, I should give you an introduction. Boo Boo, tell me, do you believe in the supernatural? I want to. That's my actual beliefs. Well, you're about to come face to face with the unexplainable yourself. You see, Gravity Falls isn't some quiet, unassuming backwater town. Much more lurks below its surface. Ford pockets the crumpled journals and journal papers and gestures for you to join him as he walks. You do and follow him through the living room and into the gift shop. For example, you must have heard Mabel mention a pterodactyl. Most would say none exists in the living world today, but I say, not if you know where to look. If anyone else told you this, you'd be disinclined to believe them, but the authority Ford carries is surprisingly compelling. Ford reaches under the cashier counter and retrieves a packet of vintage-looking gum, inspecting it for a moment before slipping it in his pocket. He looks around in thought. Hold on to my explanation for the moment. I need to retrieve some more supplies. Ford ushers you out to the gift shop entrance so that you can find yourself on the outside of the shack, then shuts the door behind you. Okay. Oh no. Am I spying on the man? Yeah. Fuck his privacy. I want to see him bend over. The glass is dirty enough that the sunlight hitting it obscures your vision of the room within. You catch a gray and tan blurry figure that must be Ford at the far wall. You lean in too close and you have to step back before you leave a conspicuous handprint on the window pane. When you look back in, Ford is gone. You turn back around. You're going to stand out here until Ford returns. Not too long later, the door opens behind you and Ford joins you outside, looking no different than before. He must have stored whatever supplies he wanted to retrieve in his coat, but the trench coat falls too naturally on his figure for him to be hiding much. Where were we? Ah, yes. Ford pulls a pen and pad of paper from his coat, walking as he writes. Just as you're about to head out, he stops and smacks his hand to his face. Oh, shoot, 1 second. Ford hurries back to the house, realizing he forgot one important component to his adventure, a butterfly net. Before you get a chance to ask, he strides out ahead of you, obviously no mind to tell you what it's for quite yet. The pair of you walk past the shack and down a well-worn path into the trees surrounding this house, sunlight peeking between the pines. Excuse me. He double-checks whatever he scribbled onto the paper and tucks it back into one of his coat's seemingly infinite pockets. Is his coat a bag of holding? Because that'd be rad. He stops and turns to face you with a definitive nod. My recipe for repellent called for a sprig of lavender, 2 thin slices of ginseng, a drop of bat blood, a chunk of amber, and 3.5 millimeters of ink. Are we gonna murder a bat? He pauses, staring down at the path in thought. Obviously, I already have all those components on hand, all except for one. For one last ingredient, a single moth wing. Oh no, he's gotta call his ex, Mothman. Shit. From Mothman himself! Yes! I called it! You can't help it. You gasp. Ford glances at you and you think you see a hint of smile before he turns back to the path and continues along, wind ruffling through his hair. You see, Mothman is the very creature on that page that Waddles seems to fear. Using a piece of itself should ward it away, or at least lead it to believe that Waddles isn't for eating. Would have already completed the repellent years ago if I had managed to collect that wing. Was it too difficult? Oh, I just never got around to it. Besides, Mothman used to come bat at this lamp I had lit out in the backyard. It seemed like such an innocent hobby that I never had the heart to chase off. Because he was jerking off the entire time. But if this brings Mabel and her pig a peace of mind, then the time has to come to finish this. Sunlight filters in through the trees, causing dappled shadows across Ford's coat as he leads in front of you. Break the silence. How do you know so much about this stuff? I want to know. I study anomalies. Anything unusual, strange, and just plain weird. I began my research in this town because it was, and remains, a hotbed of paranormal activity. I made this exact trip years ago, though at the time I had no idea where I was going. It was just dumb luck that I managed to tail Mothman back to its cave from the backyard. Navigating the forest by moonlight is poetic, but not advisable. And then he slept with Mothman. I made plenty of other discoveries as well, from fairies to gnomes and amalgams of creatures who were never meant to cross. Ah, wait. Ford reaches into his pocket and pulls out the slightly crumpled pages Mabel had pushed into his hand earlier, smoothing them out and shuffling through them. Take a look at these. They're more definitive proof than just my word. You accept the pages from him and find that there's scanned pages from some sort of journal. Just as you'd heard Mabel say, fluid cursive tells of Mothman, beard cubs, scamp fires, and more. Ford gestures to them and explains. I detailed my discoveries in a series of research journals, the remaining pages at least. I wonder where Stanley was keeping these. You must have gotten up to some pretty crazy stuff back then. You want to get into some crazy stuff now? Like my pants? That's one way to put it. Only took 6 years for me to get in over my head. He takes a silent moment to look away from your gaze, seemingly in bittersweet remembrance. I detailed my discoveries in a series of research journals. The remaining pages, at least. I wonder where Stanley was keeping these. Sure, you drew these? Yes, of course, who else? Oh no. They're so photorealistic. My work now is far better, but I appreciate the compliment. Despite his understated words, Ford looks surprisingly pleased. Yeah! Were any of these creatures ever dangerous? Oh, extremely. Some were worse. Dangerously annoying. Ha! Just like me. Though Ford seems to find his own comment amusing, he doesn't fail to notice your unease. I do have weapons in case these things escalate, so there's no need to worry. He's fucking strapped. You brought weapons? Not many. I have a stun gun, my fists, and my sharp wit. That's all you need. I mean, what more do you need? I feel safer already. I do. I feel like Ford's about to punch Mothman in the face. You didn't bring your magnet gun? I thought it would be prudent to leave its magnetic fields alone for a while until I have the time to optimize it. You see, I was trying to widen the area of magnetic influence, but it's been a while since I last worked with the gun. I needed to re-familiarize myself with its inner workings. My guess is I switched a wrong wire or two and instead narrowed the beam. I'd like to see how it works sometime. Really? You know, if you're interested in devices like that, my old research colleague Fiddleford would have more to show you. He's the engineering genius around here. Can I romance Fiddleford? That's the question. I'll take a nap in his beard. I'll ask him about the creatures. It says here that Mothman turns into a bunch of gnomes. Catch-sized leprechaun. Foamed of giant vampire. I'll ask him about Mothman. Yes, that's how we'll get the Mothwing. Then why not use mothballs as a repellent? Well, I've never tried. Could the most conventional method be the unconventional one? Or would Mothman be able to overcome its mothly nature and persist? You mentioned gnomes. Other places have rats, mice, or insects as house pests. We have gnomes. Ew, gnomes. Dude, Ford gets gnomed. Picture your typical garden gnome, but more disturbing. Not a goblin. Not a gnome. I'm not a grimloblin. I'm a gnome. Alright, will we catch sight of the pterodactyl? I doubt we'll spot it today, but perhaps we can go bird watching later if you're interested. Yes, that sounds like an awesome date. So about this leprechaun, Ford groans. You wait for further answer, but that's it. I don't blame him. There are floating eyeballs here. Sounds disconcerting, doesn't it? I once released them in my house by accident and found eyeballs in the most unsuspecting places for months. My guests chose not to comment on my choice of house decor. It's the jars of eyes! Giant fruit bats, actually. They were among the first to teach me not to judge a creature by its reputation. Yeah, bats are awesome. I only realized they were harmless once I'd been bitten by one. Oh no, that still sounds pretty bad. Actually healed quite fast. I attribute that to the health kick I was on soon after. He eats avocado toast every morning. Ah, a rare specimen that I've since steered clear of when accompanied by others. Though if you want to see one in person, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt to walk into that situation again for the sake of education. I will walk in silence. Interesting. Suddenly Ford puts out an arm in caution, slowing his pace. You narrowly manage not to collide into him and take a quick glance around to see nothing. Look, there! You see what looks like a bundled up plaid shirt moving along the forest floor. Wait, is that a beaver's tail? It looks like a... Platypus! Ah, what are you doing all the way out here? It's Perry the Platypus! Oh, it's platypus. Don't you mean platypus? Ford shakes his head with a grin. I meant what I said. It's a platypus. A platypus. Ford moves into a crouch, but stays at a respectful distance, following the small creature. You watch him, and after a moment, mimic his actions. Ford, giving the creature a bright smile, the first of its kind that you've seen since leaving Mabel at the shack. You're a cute one, aren't you? And one of my favorite patterns, too. Ford motions for you to move forward a little more, to the distance he's maintaining. If I were to rate the oddities that live in this forest on a scale of at least to most annoying, these little guys would get immunity. They have done nothing wrong, and I appreciate them for it. As the two of you watch in quiet appreciation, the platypus ambles into the underbrush and vanishes from view. What a cute little guy. The two of you continue deeper into the forest. The foliage seems denser now, and you look through the treetops for a glimpse of the sun, which has by now dropped low to the sky. It had already been getting late for you when you left, but you hadn't thought Mothman would be this far out. Almost as though he'd read your mind, Ford answers for you. Mothman is rather reclusive, and as such lives deeper within the forest than bolder creatures like the gnomes. Are you alright? Huh? That is, are you tired at all? Should have asked sooner. It's just been a long time since I've traveled with anyone new. Stanley, tends to speak his mind without my asking. I'm worried about getting stuck here at night, and not having you to cuddle with. I know these woods like the back of my hand. We'll make it back. At least, I used to. It's been a while. You feel the opposite of reassured. In any case, we still have some time until sunset. Let's wait here in the meantime. You mentioned traveling with Stan? I suppose it wouldn't do any harm to tell you. He says that, but the tone of his voice says he's been dying to tell someone for months. I've been sailing with Stanley around the world, chasing after hotspots of anomalous activity. He seemed to view it as a vacation, but I saw it as a chance to pick back up on some serious research. I've been rather eager to break the news of what we found to the world, but I must first organize my findings. If I'm honest, I still need some time to get back in the swing of things. Must be strange to come back home after traveling so long, huh? More than you know. Ford laughs, shaking his head. Behind his glasses, his eyes are downcast, almost sad. He went to ask, but decided to stay quiet. The moment the sun touches the horizon through the gaps in the treetops, Ford gestures for the two of you to continue. You hadn't noticed, but you'd been resting within short distance of a small clearing that holds a cylindrical stone marker. The stone marker bears intricate swirls carved into its surface. Ford reaches into his coat and produces the packet of gum from earlier, opening it and dumping the pieces out into his palm. Gum? Sure, I'll take some gum. I want to make sure my breath smells okay for when we get together later. Unsure of why you came all the way out here to unwrap gum at sunset, you accept a stick of gum. Ford puts the remaining gum in his coat breast pocket. He unwraps the now empty gun packet to reveal that I was hiding a small piece of parchment, folded up to act as a lining. He smoothed it out against the stone, holding it under the deep orange-red light of the sunset. You step closer to look over Ford's shoulder. The parchment holds a detailed drawing of the swirls carved into the stone, documenting every crack on the surface. As you watch, a golden cursive unfolds itself across the page, seemingly fueled by the sunset's warm light. Ford reads the words as they appear. Such a place the Mothman doth rest. Please do not disturb his nest. If kindness be something thou bereft. Ford lifts the parchment a little higher to prevent a shadow from obscuring the rest of the line. Follow thy nature and turn left. Let's turn right. Be chaotic for once. Something tells me that's not right, but it is right. Fine, whatever. Left leads you into a dimly lit cave, which Ford says he remembers well. Except last time he was here, it was pitch black since he arrived in the middle of the night. From its depths you hear the faint sound of dripping water echoing off the cave shrouded wall. You slow as your eyes attempt to adjust to the low light. I don't have dark vision, oh no! Ford pauses in front of you, reaching into his coat for something. Hold on, I have a flashlight in here somewhere. This cave has never received much natural light, you see, and, He rummages further, and you see a couple of dice, the pad of paper from earlier, a quill. He has some custom pocket work going on in there, too. And you bet one of his coat's inner pockets has a pen protector in it. You gotta protect your pens. Here we are at last. Allow me to... Darn, out of batteries. Wait, I think I have one. You pull out your phone and turn on its flashlight. The light is small, but it does the job. Huh, you saved our hides out there, boo-boo. I was about to pull out a matchbook. With your light guiding the way, you and Ford move further into the cave, which yawns wide around you. It isn't until a sliver of natural light from the entrance disappears that Ford speaks again. It's been years since I've been here. Decades even at this point, but I'll always remember the eye bats as one of the first discoveries when I arrived at Gravity Falls. How did you find them in the first place? One got into my house, you see. I was making breakfast one morning, and one managed to find my cereal box. When I poured the cereal into the bowl, it came fluttering out, agitated, like it belonged there. The nerve. You still sound so indignant, even years later, that you laugh. Is this an eye holes joke from Rick and Morty? I think it is. I'm going to assume it is. I wanted to contain it for further study, but unfortunately it managed to get away. As I thought about it afterwards, its pupil had constricted against the light, unfamiliar of the bright light in the kitchen. So either it's nocturnal or it lives in the deepest, darkest cave in Gravity Falls. I found them easily after that. Did you manage to catch one? Somewhat. I came running through his cave with a butterfly net in my wits. I brought a working flashlight that time. They all hid in dark corners. Once I turned the flashlight off, they flocked to me. I caught 18 of them that day, but it reminded me of the stealth uses of the rapid sound of clicking claws against the stone startles you. A shiver running up your spine. The dark. You turn off your light. Ford taps your shoulder and gestures for you to keep moving forward. Eventually, the narrow passage widens into a large room. The darkness shrouds the source of the dripping water from its view. But as your eyes adjust, you squint to see a strange winged shadow. A shadow with eyes that glow red and near, darkness like rubies. Your breath catches in your throat and the realization comes over you. Ford is apparently fairly close to you in the room. You find when he speaks a few inches from your shoulder, you catch the shadow of his arm swing out in a wide arc, like he's introducing you to... Boo-boo, I'd like for you to meet the Mothman. He whispers, but even in the dark you see him grinning excitedly at you. Ford looks between you and the Mothman, apparently hoping for a dramatic reaction. Your speechlessness seems to satisfy him. Don't worry, it hasn't noticed you. Mothman, there's no need to feel down. What was the Mothman YMCA joke from Tumblr? It was like, swing your... Take that man off the ground, I said, Mothman. Swing your new friend around. Here's the plan. You make contact with Mothman and He pulls out a butterfly net in a large lidded jar. Now, where that one came from within its code of mysteries is lost to you. We'll capture one of the 100 moths to comprise it. Wait, I get to touch Mothman? The Mothman? You're headed with a butterfly net? Seriously? I'm gonna fanboy over Mothman. Yes, and it turns into 100 black witch moths. It's like experiencing a swarm of locusts. Surprising when you're not expecting it. Remember, even just a light touch is enough. You steel yourself, awaiting Ford's signal. He waves his hand to coax you forward, and then it's up to you to decide how to, make contact. Run straight for it. Leroy Jenkins! With an honorable battle... Leroy Jenkins! You charge straight at Mothman. It lets out a screech and beats its wings aggressively, cueing you to dive straight at it. As soon as you make contact with Mothman's chest, the swarm of moths flutter around you, trying escape. Wait, moths, of course! You turn the light on your phone back on. The bright light spooks the moths, while keeping a few dancing around the light source. Nice. You walk slowly back to Ford, who sees the remaining moths fluttering around at the phone in your hand and puts the butterfly net back in his coat. He gently brings a jar over one of them and screws it closed. Well done, boo-boo. That wasn't too hard, was it? Ford pockets the jar and you turn off your phone's light, releasing the few remaining moths back into the darkness. That was amazing. Ford laughs, brushing dust and dirt off his trench coat. You could say that. Our completed repellent is within sight. Let's head back. Ford turns to leave the cave. He looks calm and content. You, on the other hand, are buzzing with energy and adrenaline. Should you go for a high five? Hell yeah! You raise your hand in a universally understood offer of a high five. Ford pauses, then grins, high-fiving you. Or rather, 6. Ah, I love this drawing. It's so cute. When you and Ford finally reach the cave entrance, you find the forest that you'd left in the dying light is now awash with a silvery glow. A gap between the leaves overhead provides a view of the night sky, along with a long string of stars. A few more steps and the Milky Way comes into view, looking as if a tear across the fabric of the sky. Ford notices you looking. See something? A pterodactyl doesn't usually come out this late, but being a prehistoric creature, its behavior is rather unpredictable. I've never seen the Milky Way in person before. It looks amazing, just like you. Isn't it? It's remarkable what you can see without light pollution from the city. Here on the outskirts of town, you can see a good portion of the Milky Way every night. He gazes up into the night sky. A whole year has passed, yet it feels strange to see a sky I recognize. What? Oh, traveling, out in a different part of the world. You both stare up at the sky in a comfortable silence for a few more moments. The quiet of the forest settles in, along with a distant sound of flowing water. You find yourself surprisingly glad that Ford had accidentally pulled you here. This is one of the moments you get to experience. Out of the corner of eye, you see Ford looking at you instead of up, but when you tilt your head back down, his attention is elsewhere. Eventually, the two of you come to a wordless mutual agreement to continue on, and you're walking again. You'll have to show me the other creatures that live here sometime. You're glad you said so when you look over and find that Ford looks pleasantly surprised to hear it. His chest puffs out with pride. Of course, maybe we'll even get to spot the hide behind, or tag along with Dipper when he next visits the multi-bear. The what? Ford taps his temple, grinning. You'll have to wait until I show you to find out. I'm holding you to that. We have some time left before we get back, if you're up for another walk. You must make a face because Ford looks back at you and laughs. We're not far, I promise. I just thought I might answer a few of your questions, if any. What questions are there? Actually this sort of thing isn't part of my exercise regimen. Ford turns left to the stone marker, towards the side of the river, and sure enough, after a while, it comes into view. The moonlight illuminates the water as you walk along it. After following the river for a few minutes, the shoreline expands into a small round lake in the center of the clearing. Overhanging it is large flat rock, the kind that could be used as a less than effective diving board in times of emergency. The emergency being that one just had to jump into the lake. Are we gonna skinny dip? I'm down. However, neither yourself nor Ford really look in the direction of the diving board. He leads you towards the edge of the lake, where a relatively flat boulder could substitute for a bench. The two of you take a seat. Boring. Ask about other creatures in Gravity Falls. You said to wait, but can I at least get a preview of what I'd be getting into? Not content to leave them to discover yourself? Has anybody told you about the Gobblewonker? You snort, taken aback by the name, but compose yourself when Ford simply raises an eyebrow. I don't think so. No. Not even in the tourist guide? Does the office even read my letters? Ford mutters to himself something about updating the tourist guide to warn against local dangers. He sighs with a frustration that's reserved for bureaucracy, but soon lightens up at the prospect of getting to introduce you to another strange creature. Well, the Gobblewonker is a large sea creature that lives in this very lake. One could say it's our version of the Loch Ness Monster. My old research assistants apparently saw it at some point. He said it was a large, gray and scaly, with a long neck like a giraffe. You wouldn't have had any odd sightings yet, have you? It's only been 24 hours, but my own first encounter with the strange occurred shortly after my arrival, as well. I think I saw it last night, sure. It's a little silly, but I felt a little unsettled last night before I went to bed. almost like I was being watched down the hallway. Ah, that must be our unwanted guest. The decapitated head of wax figure Larry King. Just try to ignore it. We haven't been able to fish him out yet. Oh, it's just Larry King. Don't worry about it. How's your family? What's Dipper like? Or Mabel? In short, a force to be reckoned with. She radiates charm and positivity and has depths of determination I can only guess at. You'll find out for yourself, most likely. It's hard not to wake up one day and find yourself a friend. Perhaps you already are. He wiggles his fingers spookily in the air and you laugh. I don't doubt it. What is Dipper like? Dipper is very intelligent in many ways. He reminds me of, well, myself. Last summer, he found the research journals I mentioned, and instead of overlooking them, made some impressive contributions of his own. He has since started his own journal, and I look forward to see where life will take him. He's made me prouder than I can say. What is Seuss like? Ah, the handyman Seuss. Well, I'm still not sure what he does exactly. But Stan gave him the rights to conduct his business with the shack, so he spends his day giving out tours, selling merchandise, fooling the townsfolk, giving no refunds, and the like. I may not have been around for the original Mystery Shack very often while Stan was still running it, but I believe Seuss is doing the brand name good. What is Stan like? Stubborn, foolhardy, a liar, and a cheapskate. Fucking roasting him. But a true hero at heart. There's no one else I'd rather call my brother. Ah, yes, the Mystery Shack used to be my house, once upon a time, and now it's a tourist trap. I'm glad for what it's become as a home. I just wish it weren't so offending to each of the senses. Are you really okay with me staying here? Absolutely. I owe it to you, after all. Helping me today, however, was not part of the plan. You're making it rather hard to settle my debt. I think you did me a favor just by letting me come along today. The two of you share a smile. How far away are the stars? Ask Ford if he has a favorite constellation, and his answer comes faster than you expected. Orion and Ursa Major, without a doubt. What about you? A summer let's appeal to him, say Ursa Major. Gotta get in your pants now. Ford looks out across the lake. He thought, Boo-boo, I have to admit, I didn't want to take you with me earlier today. Thought I'd be walking myself into an uncomfortable social situation. So, did you, to be honest? And you did well out there. Not many tourists could handle the kind of task we just completed. This had the potential to have gone disastrously. I mean, a butterfly net against Mothman, easily a 3% success rate. Sometimes, the more Ford speaks, the less reassured you feel, until all that's left is a distant unease. You smile and nod anyway. Yeah. The two of you sit in another moment of quiet night air, pleasantly chill around you, until Ford again breaks it. We should head back now. I'm sure Mabel will want to hear we've been successful. You stand and give Ford a hand up from a makeshift bench. Ford takes the lead again, and you're no longer able to catch sight of the lake when you glance back. Ford gradually adjusts his pace to yours, walking side by side with you in companionable silence all the way back to the shack. Almost there. You're recognized from incredibly flashy signs touting phrases like Mystery Shack this way and Sasquatch to your left, and you are extremely close to arriving back at the shack. As you and Ford leave the tree line, you see the bright light shining on the porch. You make out the faint outline of the kids' shadows. They run through the house and emerge in the attic window, and Mabel pushes it open, leaning out. Grunkle Ford, finally! You guys took so long, I had time to cover Waddles and macaroni. Why would you do that? I have my reasons. Did you get the thing? Yes, and I'm coming inside so we can stop shouting. Boo-boo, come along. We've got a pig to save. Ford strides into the shack, a man on a mission. You grin and follow, but not before taking one last look at the night sky. Yeah, maybe your stay won't be too bad after all. Back inside the shack, the grand conclusion to your expedition to the Mothman's cave is spritzing Mabel's pig with a newly finished deterrent until the poor piglet reeks of lavender. You see Mabel and Dipper head up to bed, looking sleepier than usual as a result. Something about lavender is so soothing to the senses that you crash out fairly soon afterwards, face first on your makeshift bed. Love meter! It's like you were made for each other. Can you give me dating tips? You're good at this. This is perfect. I think I'm gonna cut it here, though. It's getting late, and I'm gonna end my stream here and end my recording. So this concludes episode 1 of Swooning Over Sands, a Grunkle dating simulator. I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but I think Ford got a little crush on me. Alright, I'm just gonna end it because I don't know how to do outro, so bye.